Hello! I did promise that I would be back today, and I wanted to show you a little bit of how I would finish a painting. So this is very nearly done, and I do really like the colours that I've used, but a few things need just refining a little. So I'll talk you through it as I look at it. So this is a totally imagined piece of work that I did a couple of weeks ago, and there's a lot of texture in the background. It's a piece of birch plywood, and it was actually a different painting of a landscape underneath, very abstract, and I really liked the colours, but I just felt it wasn't strong enough. So I decided to paint this, and at the time I had a particular palette. Today I've got several palettes which aren't necessarily the particular colours I had, but I've got enough of the colour that I can mix whatever is on here. I've got a palette that has ultramarine on it, and orange and white. I have one with purple and yellow, and I have one with magenta and a lime green that I've mixed, and white as well. And I have another one on the floor, which is quite similar to this, but with a cerulean blue and a cadmium red. So I've got plenty of colours that I can pick from. So the painting itself, I really like how that's very much near the edge, but what I don't like about that bit is the transparency of the foot of the bowl, and it sort of needs tidying up a bit, so that's what I need to do. I like the table colour as it is. Unfortunately, I've got shadows coming across here, so let's see if I can change that. This bit here needs sorting out, this crisp edge, I make it crisp, and this shadow needs softening. This is a little bit too transparent as well. I like how the flowers are. I think I want to either make this vase a definite vase, because at the moment it's got a little lip there. So I could either make this dip in, or I could make that more of a jug shape, and I think I'll do that, because if I start trying to paint this in a bit, then I'm going to have to mix exactly that colour, which isn't impossible, but I quite like the kind of loose, messy background that is there. Having said that, the level of it is different to here. So here it looks like this is where the light's really hitting, but more of this colour would be over here. So I might actually come round and do that without touching the edge of this. So that's what I'll do. This cup, I'm not sure if I want to touch it. I might lighten the paint in the hole where the handle is a little bit. Like the texture of the skirting board here, it's almost like it's peeling paint, but I'll just crisp up this edge here. The shadow I like, it's fine. So those are the main things. I think I'm going to leave this. Again, I like the kind of peeling effect. It's almost like an old hotel in France, somewhere like that, where the decor hasn't been touched for years, which I really like. Okay, mixing time. I'm going to start with a yellow bowl. So I'll just bring that over, and I'll bring over this palette as well, because this has got the lime green on, and that's going to help me to mix that. So what I'll do is I'll move this over a bit, and then I've got some paper. I like seeing what the colour looks like on the paper. So I'll turn this around so you can see the lime and the yellow. And these are just my improvised stay wet palettes. All they are is a tray with some, here I've just got a wet wipe, but it's on top of some kitchen roll, and I wet that down, and then I use baking parchment over the top. So I'm just going to mix white and yellow at the moment, and then take a bit of that green. And this is, I can see already, this is a little bit too strong, so I need some of my blue. I need a little bit of this blue, which is cyan or cerulean blue. Actually, I don't really want to mix it on there, so I'll do it down here. And then I'll take a little bit of white and some of that yellow. That's much too bright. So I'm going to take more of the yellow, and I'm going to take a little tiny bit of the purple if it's not dried up. Does seem like it might be. It's been really hot today in here, so it has dried up. That's annoying. I'll take some pink and put it in there. See, colour mixing takes a while. That's the thing. I definitely feel like it needs a bit more yellow, but toning down somehow. See, that's not far off. In fact, I think that might be good for highlighting the top. Right, so I'm just going to see what this is like. And bearing in mind, acrylic does dry a bit darker than when you first put it on, which I do know. One of my students asked me if I consider that when I'm painting, and I don't really. The way I'm using it here, it dries pretty quickly. So when you know, I'm usually standing here when it's dry, and I can just adjust and add a little bit more white or something to lighten the colour. Right, so that's a bit better. It's kind of crisper. This needs to be darker, so I'm just going to get a bit more yellow that has got a tiny bit of the purple in it, and go down here and make that more opaque and slightly taller. It's a little bit too bright, a bit saturated. So I get a bit of green and a little bit of the red. The light, it's cadmium orange actually, so it makes it a bit more browny. And I'm just actually dabbing a little bit at it now. This here frustrates me a bit. I think I need to make this wider. Make the foot a little bit wider. That's okay. That's better. What I'm tempted to do is make this colour up and just refine that and make that crisper. But I think if I do that, I seriously risk destroying this pattern. And I think what I might do is there's a tiny little fleck there of paint which I'd quite like to get rid of. But having said that, let me just have a look at it closely. Yes, it is yellow. I just want to crisp that up slightly. So I'm going to attempt to mix a colour a bit like that. I think I'll use a bit of pink to mute it down. And then I'm just going to, now I really am just going to dab. This is a bit almost like using Photoshop, this is. You just dab it on and get rid of that. And here, I'm really just, it's like dry brushing really. It's almost imperceptible. Just to make it's frustrating me that it's just a bit wider than this side. This is more refined looking. So I'm just going to attempt to do that and alter it slightly. And if I'm careful and take my time, that is possible. So those are the sort of things that I'm thinking about when I want to finish a painting. What is drawing my eye? What's annoying me? You know, you can't see the form of this jug, so that's something I need to fix. It's going to take too long to do everything on camera, but that gives you a feel for what I get up to. I will do a bit more. This is the kind of thing that I do in module 4 of experimental still life, when we work from the inside out, which is purely from the imagination. I'm just going to do this jug now. I've I've mixed a sort of peachy colour because I feel like this light here is, it would be nice if it hit that jug, and that would be a nice way to highlight the area of that. But I also want to mix up the sort of purpley edge, and I'm just going to use a little bit of that cyan, a little bit of that, to mix a sort of greyish pink as well. It needs a little bit more cyan and white, so I'll come over here, collect that. This is why it's so nice if you do actually manage to finish a painting in one sitting. That colour looks pretty good. It might be quite light. Let's see. It might be light, but then it will dry a bit darker. I like that actually. And then I can show where the edge of that is. You see, that's already so much better. And then I'm thinking, well, where else would the light hit? I'll just get a little bit of that peachy colour. And it would be up here. Would hit there, I think. Down a little bit, and probably on the top of the handle. And you can see already it's drying, so it doesn't show so much where I've just been. But I like the idea of having a little bit of light hitting here and maybe across the body of the gravy boat as well. And then perhaps a little tiny bit would be on the handle, like that. I feel like I've slightly overdone where that's going, so I'm just going to paint it in again with a bit more pink. And maybe I'll do that. And here, as you work, you know, you start noticing things. Here I want to use that blue that I used here. Remember to wash your brush, of course. Just to refine that shape a bit. So I'll get some blue and try to mix that again. Way too bright at the moment. A bit more green, and mute it down with a bit of pink. It's getting closer. I'll use a tiny bit of white, and it's too much yellow. A bit more blue, a bit more pink. And it doesn't matter because it's an enclosed shape. It doesn't actually matter too much if it's a little bit darker. I'm sort of painting this without it being under my nose, so to speak. I'm a little bit too far away from it, but I think that will be okay, and I feel a bit better about that. I'm just going to turn it round actually so I can get closer. So I would really like to get a curve on this. There, I'm happier with that. I think I'm going to leave that like that. And now I'll start having a go with this area and across here. So this is where I may stop. See, that already is a bit better. The light here, perhaps. I like that lemon bit there. And now I want to get it a little bit lighter around this pot, around here. So there we are, this is me starting to paint the light a bit more. And as you see, I've got a really strong, quite a strong shadow here. Shadow of the bowl, or rather the vase, which needs a bit of shaping, and the shadow of this jug. And that's, I'm quite happy with some of the green coming through. Because it's kind of textural, there's quite a bit of texture from the previous painting, so it's kind of picking up on that, which is fine. And then obviously this is coming around, the light would come round, so I shall just use that to shape what would be the jug lip, make that more definite. Oops. I don't want too much over this side because I like that. In fact, that I might even rub that off, or at least blend it in a bit more, because I think I want to use a bit of this sort of purpley colour on that jug lip, just rubbing it slightly. Just thinking where else, oh yes, around here. At the moment it's a pretty good match for that colour. It feels, yeah, it's better. It's made this less flat, which is good. And I can go up here and crisp up that shadow. I don't want it crisp so much as just a bit more softer, but a nicer shape, I think is what I'm getting at. Coming around here. I don't really want to lose all these lovely green bits, but the light is quite important to me. I'm getting quite into it now. I feel lucky that I managed to mix pretty much the right colour. This I do want to crisp up. I'm going to resist doing anything to that other than just take a little bit of white and highlight this, just so it's really a bit more delicate. There, I'm happy with that. This I need to sort out. So it's definitely improved. I'm going to leave it there, have another look at it, and then finish it off. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will see this appearing either framed or unframed when it is finished. But I hope that was helpful, just to give you an idea of the things to think about. If you've liked this video, please do subscribe and like it. And importantly, if you have any comments or questions, I would love to hear them. And I will answer your questions as soon as I can. All right. Thank you. Take care. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.